All right, here we are.
Hi.
Hi. We're back for another
Yeah.
episode.
Would
so,
you like to introduce yourself to us all?
sure, I'm Jennifer Victoria Bell, and I am the creator and founder of Universal Light Technologies, which are transmissions of clear doses of universal consciousness to help people organize their own consciousness based on their own soul and truth. And my beautiful friend.
I'm Joanie Eisinger. I'm in New Jersey, and you could find me at jonieswhitelightshealing.com. And I'm a light worker that shows up. And wow, Jennifer and I are here. This is our second time together, and I just find it just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cheeky and like weird and funny that the day that we wanted to talk about how we raise the Earth's vibration, there's like some big stuff going on, and we're like, I don't think that we're going to be talking about that today.
No.
So would you like to start off
Yep, there's
the springboard for our conversation, the two psychic chicks talking about the news.
Well, so the news today, and it's funny that I chose to wear a blue shirt. This blue shirt is not a sign of any political affiliation. I'm just going to make that caveat right now. Just the shirt I chose.
That's
and if you
funny.
really wanted to know, I don't have matching bottoms on.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, just wanted you to know. So, we're post electile dysfunction, as I'm calling it. And we have the news announcing that Biden's a winner, but we don't really have proof of that through the news. So it's very nebulous and it's confusing, and it's designed to be that way. And so there's a lot of emotion running around. There's a lot of confusion. And for me, I feel like I can feel like in the collective that there's a lot of sadness, and then there are people on the other side that are feeling happy, or they're gloating, or they feel relief, or whatever it is. But on the other side, there's fear and sadness. People are very, very afraid.
Absolutely. I think that people have made very strong opinions over the past 4 years, for some even longer than that, and that we were all hoping that this Band-Aid would be ripped off on election night, and that it's been pretty much a week of horror. It's a horror.
It's a horror.
Someone in Pennsylvania, I said that, they're like, what's horror? And I said, horror. So for those of you not from the Northeast that are watching, it's a horror. And so here we are today. Jennifer and I were chatting a little bit before about how we were feeling, and I'm kind of chill. It's a weird energy that I'm experiencing. Many people I've been speaking with have been saying they feel like they're in the twilight zone. Other people are saying they feel like there are two planets that are coexisting, right? Or two Earths, two realities side by side. And this is a nebulous time. If people aren't feeling grounded, I strongly suggest doing grounding work. Imagine your feet are going into your feet. Here, I guess I'm not grounded.
Well, no, that's the hobbity way of saying it.
Oh, is it?
I'm making that up.
Oh, I didn't know. So there you go. So I'm in some realm. That's the third Earth. I'm in the third Earth.
That's even more grounding, though. Hobbits.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm very grounded. Thank you. So grounds yourself with your feet in Hobbit Earth, and you're not alone. This is a very surreal time. I channeled earlier today that the not knowing, So if people are in this nebulous way, if they're unsure, you have a soul growth opportunity. You have the opportunity to grow just by allowing yourself to not know. It's a fabulous place. And for those of you that negate that and think that that's like, how could that be? Actually, in spiritual growth earth school, if you can get yourself to just sit and not know, you are like bucket checklist. Yes.
It's a high level skill. Yeah. Yeah.
I had gone in a few weeks ago that Biden would be called the winner, and that there would be information that would come out about nefarious activities, and that the information would be very, very, very shocking and disturbing for the masses, and that ultimately Donald Trump would be reelected for another term. I went in again today and I received the same information. I don't know if there's anything that you want to share.
It's interesting because what I want to share is about this. We have these two, we have this election. We've had 4 years of, in my experience in life, I've never seen people be so negative about a president, and in such a way that I've never seen people be debased to an animalistic way of being, survival way of being, in the face of like using the president or the presidency as a way to get people there. And so one thing that I don't feel that, there's this very interesting thing that even when I feel like Biden as president, I don't feel a lot of substance. I still feel something is shaky. Something is wobbly there. It doesn't feel solid. But that doesn't, and it matters and it doesn't matter to me because we all have to be in our own reality. I feel like there are a lot of realities that are happening at one time. And I agree, like what Joanie is saying, that people are feeling like they're in the twilight zone, they're in a different plane, they're in a different earth. Yeah, I could be in a Hobbit Earth post the war. That would be fine, right? So it's about really just staking that claim of stability within the self and just saying, I am safe no matter what. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have to be safe here. I have to just take in, I'm sitting here, I'm hanging out with Joanie, we're recording and
right now.
And that's I have to take that in and understand that, yes, the world is also still happening. It's also still happening.
If we throw this out, well, okay, so there's a president of a country. Sure, there are third dimensional implications, but what are you doing as a soul and earth school? So we can talk about this whole macro thing that's going on.
Yeah.
We've got this story and it's convoluted, twisted, Mission Impossible, Battlestar Galactica, 007, great stuff. Best movie ever made. But we as spiritualists and as healers, we are concerned about people and coping and growing and learning and stretching and more and expanding. And so I'm not going to be flip, but like, oh, well, who cares? So what have you done today to brighten your world, to challenge yourself, to question things, to be the master of your domain?
Yeah, I'm like, amen to that.
Testimony, just gave some, said Joanie the Jew. Joanie the Jew. Gave some testimony. Do I have a witness?
Hallelujah. So yeah, there's this, it feels like this is an opportunity. So a lot of people are looking at this like, what is my life going to be like with this, whoever it is as president? What is it going to, well, how did the last presidency really change your life? And how did the one before that? And how did the one before that? And how did the one before that? So there's that, but there's also, we know there's more on the line now. We know that we know the difference. We know that there's a big difference because we know our freedoms are on the line. And that makes it a whole another ball game, you know, and we've all come here in soul earth school, right? To develop and to grow in the face of this.
Right. You know, Jennifer and I were talking about our audience and who might be watching us. And we concluded that a lot of the people are on spiritual paths who'd be connecting with two light workers who are healers, and that we're just not sure how many of those that are on a spiritual journey might know some behind the scenes issues regarding liberties being taken away and manipulation of information that's presented to people, etc. And that we were saying that a lot of people they don't know, and that and that's okay. There's no judgment here. It's, well, what do you do as someone who's on a spiritual journey who is confronted with information that feels good because they don't know, and then there might be information that's going to be presented to them that's quite shocking too, that can turn their spiritual journey world upside down in a flash.
Yes. Oh yeah. And they don't call it the Great Awakening for nothing.
That's right. And we love that. We couldn't wait to be here for this. They say, buckle up. I've been saying people are going to need to get depends. This is not the end here, folks. There is more to come. And, you know, I've said this before: eat cleanly, rest, exercise, pray, eliminate phobias and addictions. Surround yourself with positivity, because this is not the end of this story. There's more to come. Tune in next week.
Yeah, well, and I'm just taking a breath, a pause, because I feel like what you just said is really important, that you're emphasizing this self-care. We all really need this. How do you care for yourself through this? And this is new for most of us. This is new for people who were alive during World War II. At this stage in the game, may not have been in it. You know, they may have been like a young child at that time. They may not have been a part of the war. I'm sure there are some vets that are still alive. You know,
my dad's a Holocaust survivor. He's 92.
Yeah. So there are people who have a memory of, who are alive still, who know what this kind of, I would say, conflict, the level of conflict. And it's interesting because I know a lot of people will say to me, like, why are you posting so much about this? You know, and they don't understand that there's a spiritual war. And so you might as a person feel more tension. You might feel more anxiety than you ever felt. And it might be because you're starting to sense spirit even more. And because of that, you're understanding that there's a lot going on in the realm of spirit right now.
That's right.
And even though it's going on in the realm of spirit, that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy our lives in this physical reality and try to take things in stride and understand there are going to be ups and downs. Like, I just keep seeing, the image I always get is this turbulent flight and a rough landing. And so we're still on the turbulent flight. We haven't landed yet. We haven't gotten to the rough landing yet. No. And I that it's because if you understand the level of darkness, I would say, or there's a word, manipulation, and all the, I mean, to me, it's like the
duplicity, clandestine behavior.
Yeah, trying to keep people in the dark. It's not even like darkness. It's doing things in the dark and trying to keep people in the dark for so long, and doing things that have like malicious intentions against people. Then they're these, this doesn't want to be seen by people, doesn't want to be revealed. then it's going to take time, and it's going to also take time for the people who are not knowing, to start to kind of go, something's not right.
Someone had said to me a few days ago, who's religious and searching, but not on the type of unity consciousness spiritual journey that we're on. And she said, I believe that people have been brainwashed. And I thought, very interesting that someone who, just like what you said, is that she started to sense that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That something's been up, and that she hasn't been able to not, she's knocking on people's doors and there's no one there. And that she concluded that there's been something outside of them that has manipulated them,
Mm-hmm.
where they then are coming up with conclusions that might not be based in a solid foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to say that this experience that we're having, like what you had said, this is new. We have not in Earth's history experienced something
Mm-mm.
of this enormity. And if people are trying to liken this experience to something, the only thing that I came up with that was similar, that was really harsh, was the Great Depression.
Oh.
And that it was sudden, it changed people's lives, and then you had breadlines, and you had people who were killing themselves, and you had shortages, and there was a lot of despair. And that was a concrete third dimensional experience that you could wrap your head around. Fast forward to where we are today, and a lot has happened since then in the past 100 years, and that here we are, and something's different about this, that you can't necessarily put your finger on one event that would cause such turmoil. I believe that it's been a progression.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's been laid out, and I'm going to sound a little bit, you know what?
Yeah.
Planned for decades. And now it's it's nebulous, amorphous. You can't quite put your finger on it. And the person that I spoke with said, I think we've been brainwashed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you ask the person on the street, hey, what do you think's the reason why the world is so chaotic right now? Maybe they're going to say it's because of the president, if we're going to go there. But if you pull him out, there's so much that's gone on that has thrown things upside down. Let's just move the president aside. Let's say that it wasn't he. You and I will probably come up with many examples of things that have been put in people's minds, in their mind's eye, to give them a sense of dis-ease, to move them into a chaotic reality. I don't know if you wanted to add about that.
I have some stuff coming through right now. Some stuff
I knew you would.
Coming through right now.
Telepathy.
Yeah. So this is what's interesting. We have a president who's created all these peace treaties, right? In places that we haven't had them before. And now we're seeing, right, all the conflict is like here. It's on our soil. It's an interesting type of war. So I would say there's something karmic with those peace treaties that hasn't necessarily been fully resolved, and conflict is finding a place to carry itself out. I do believe this is all planned. Okay, this is not like, oh, all of a sudden it's coming here. Why didn't it go over there or to Greece or whatever?
Right.
And so it is interesting because it does feel like, you think about all the conflict that had been in the Middle East for so long, and the conflict that we were involved in. And now it feels like the conflict is just, it's being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed into this country and into the minds of everyone here. There are many conflicts. The brainwashing includes many conflicts. the conflicts of the right and the left, black and white, uh, like we're, like pro-life, you know,
Yeah.
you know, pro-abortion.
Yeah.
There are many, many conflicts, and these are the conflicts that have gotten, it's like very loud, and we're like a hot pot right now. We're like a pressure cooker that is sealed and is like, I'm waiting. I don't know how the vent is going to be. Someone needs to open the vent,
Absolutely.
and people don't realize that they're upset. Why they're upset? They're just on a train of being angry and in conflict and upset without realizing that there's really nothing tangible in their own life that's creating that.
That's right. And they've been stoked.
Yeah, still, yeah.
They've been stoked. So for those of you who are watching that are really identifying with what Jennifer said, you can maybe ask yourself, do I watch a lot of TV? Do I watch violent movies? Am I listening to the news that incites anger and bitterness and division? It's not good for you. The doctor would say, don't take that daily. That is the exact opposite of what a soul needs. That's not even the way you generate healthy cells.
No, it's you can't. Your body will start to, your body definitely will react to that. And it was interesting because I watched, someone had posted a Facebook video. There's a judge in, I think he's in Rhode Island. He's an older Italian guy, and he basically said, everyone here is an immigrant, and we have unity.
I saw that. Yeah.
It was a beautiful video. It was very inspiring. Because it's, we think about, like, here we are, we're supposed to be the melting pot, the American dream. People come here from other countries for freedom, and we're losing it. And even this is interesting because I'm bringing in some media now, right? So I think it was the Connecticut governor who said, the only way to get back our economy is to restrict freedom. Well, that's very, very, that it doesn't make any,
that's telling.
That doesn't make any logical sense or intuitive sense. That is brainwashing at its finest right there.
Right. That's inversion of reality.
Yes,
that
exactly.
is where people need to start questioning the information that's coming in. Now, before, Jennifer and I chatted before. You had spoke about spell casting.
Oh, yes.
Please share. You had some really good stuff that I think folks need to hear.
I'm like, oh, what did I say? Sometimes I have to go back.
You were
to remember.
saying that to remind you, about noticing that there are phrases, words, repetition.
Yes, actually, I think you said that, but there are. You will hear phrases over and over again, like at the beginning of this, the new normal. That's a spell. That is actually a spell that's been cast over people. And there are many, many words being used that
stay safe.
Stay safe. That's another one. Even social distancing is a spell because you can't be social and so that's an
oxymoron.
Oxymoron and an inversion. It's confusing to your consciousness. It's very confusing.
Right.
But it is also a spell. So if you watch look, here we go. Why do they call it a broadcast? Because it's casting a spell. Why are they newscasters? Because they're casting spells. And I know people may not want to think that, like, there are that sorcery or wizardry or witches or magic, right, is being used, but magic is, its base level is transformations. Like, what I like to say is, if you want to understand transformation, understand that you eat food, it goes through your body, it makes more of your body, and then it also makes poop. That's like a magic, like a real natural magic that's happening, that's we're designed to do. But there have been people, they're using magic now still. This is not Hansel and Gretel. This is a real thing. And when you start to notice it, you can break out of the fog of those words.
there are many people that aren't aware that there are players that are not looking out for our best interest.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many people that succumb, they become open to this mirage that's put forth, to the magic,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know. And it's not blame, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always say to clients and friends, well, how do you feel about it? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? And a lot of people, they say, you know, I can't stand the TV. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And they're not turning it off because they're hooked in and they're programmed, and
Yeah.
they possibly have a spell put on them. So again, I'd say you can always break a spell. You can always get
Yes.
out of that. And it's, if you keep saying it over and over again, do something about it. Rip yourself away. We are similar in the way that we are, and that we can break away, we can question and go, they're not going to get me, I'll show them. And it's, every person can use their determination and their wherewithal. We all have it. You can just get your cojones, big girl panties, big boy boxers on, and you can do this. It's about feeling, it's about intuiting, it's about claircognizance, your divine knowing. We're all hardwired the same way. There's no difference between Jennifer and me. And that you all, if you're not familiar with the spiritual battle that's going on between light and dark, you can reach out, you can ask us, you could ask
Mm-hmm.
questions of others, you know, like, what's going on here? Something's wrong. I feel that there's a lot of satanic stuff that's in music. The Super Bowl's kind of strange. Have you seen it lately?
Yeah.
These are the types of things that people can start looking at and questioning. I had read somewhere, I don't remember, years ago, they said at the end, when things shift before they blossom, everything will be inverted. And that's the Antichrist, which is the satanic programming, where everything, like right is left, up is down, you name it, male is female, female is male, dark is light, light is dark, you name it, and hate is love, love is hate. So if you feel that you're topsy-turvy, it's possible you've been programmed, or that you've been made dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
You can undizzy yourself. Ask for guidance, ask for assistance if you don't know how to do it, and just pray to be guided and to be reversed in all ways. Do you want to add?
Yeah, just come into a healthy, that healthy, healthy evolution of life, come into like healthy creation energy, meaning like the inversion is against the health of creation. It's a destruction phase. Now we have natural destruction phases that happen in like micro bursts in our body, because our cells will break down and regenerate, right? Some of them, that's their process. That's what they
a sloughing off of skin.
Like a sloughing off of skin. So we have some of that, but this is our reality, is it's taken over in a way. And so then you can just really just ask for that to be in that healthy flow of creative energy. And also based on your soul, based on your connection to source, not based on anybody else's. What is that healthy version of for your own self, right? Yeah, because there's a lot that tells us how we should be and how we should live, and it doesn't necessarily work.
It's interesting. Just it kind of gets back on what we were saying about putting all your eggs in some savior's basket. Sure, who's leading the country? It affects the world. It affects you and me in all ways. But in the end, if we think about it, do we want to fashion our life based on another person that we don't even know? We don't know about them. We could have our opinions, but in the end, it's like hero worship. There are people who are spending their breathing moments during their day focusing on a person or two people that they don't even know. It's like that, that and a what is that? That and a token will get you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and right, or that, so that and the price of rice, really. So what about you? You're the most important person. It's about healing here. It's about growing and feeling,
Mhm.
going into the heart space. And what do you know? A lot of people also do the hero worship because they're really minimizing their self. I mean, you are the more important person than a president. You are you are a God spark. And that, it's not like, oh my God, I gotta meet, oh my God, I'm just a person. But there, get real, get with it. We're all equal. We're all God sparks. We've all played different parts. We've been kings, we've been paupers, we've been in between, we've played all different parts. So these people are elected officials in this incarnation. They've done other things in other lifetimes. I'm sure of that. So get that in perspective when you wake up in the morning and how much energy you want to focus on this too.
Yeah, and so realize something, because this has been coming in also. Because I have to say, personally, it bothers me that this is my personal view, that knowing what I know about Hillary Clinton, that she's not been arrested, really does. I do have this kind of like, we know some things have gone on there, and we need, and that's not being revealed. But so I had that thought, and then and of course it leads me into the channel, which is because you see pictures of her with the ankle, the
ankle monitor,
the ankle
bracelet thing.
monitor.
Yeah.
But I realize they're all owned assets. So when we put these people on a pedestal, you have to remember, like even let's say Beyonce, or anyone, any famous musician, any famous actor,
athlete,
athlete, newscaster, they're all owned assets. They do not have freedom.
Right.
They are owned. They may all be ankle monitored. They may have been ankle monitored this whole time and we don't realize it, because they're players and then they wheel them out. Like, this is what's interesting today, right? They have the Biden announcement. Who gets rolled out? Bill Gates. Right after. That's strategic. That's planning.
That's subliminal.
That's subliminal, right? So it's very interesting how they're carrying this out. And then if you can understand, because I love what Joanie's saying, like that we're all God sparks, but like when you start to understand that person that you think has a lot of money or has a lot of fame or has a wonderful life actually doesn't,
or is so smart
and isn't really, then you feel even more free. And if you can just stretch into being you and release all of that kind of like, like, oh, I never made it as a blah, blah, or, like I could never be that. Well, you don't want to be that. Yeah, unless you want to be owned, and I don't want to be.
And in this reality for today, there is that ceiling. Mm-hmm. Things will change, and that ultimately when truth is revealed and there is a reconstruction of this earth reality, we will be seeing ourselves doing things that we wanted to do, that we dreamed of doing, and it will be possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to get back to the spell casting, the subliminals. Yes. I really feel that based on what you said, and I like that you added this about Biden comes out, but then Bill Gates comes out like a tag, tagged on. Be aware now. Now's actually an excellent opportunity for people to be aware of spell casting and subliminals, because people are going to be open. They're looking for hope and saving. So there are going to be promises that are going to be made. There are going to be announcements, right? And that people need to watch what's being said. My guess is there's going to be a lot of talk about vaccination. There's going to be a lot of talk about lockdown. There's going to be talk. What I just got a lot of submission.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of rules that are going to be they're going to be spoken of. I don't know for how long, because we've got an underdog thing that's happening where
Yes.
I believe there will be a rightful owner that will be taking the place of Biden. Now's the time to watch what is promised, watch what is said, but even more so, watch what doesn't make sense. Things are going to be twisted and inverted again. Not again, it's continuous.
It's
It hasn't
continuous.
stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's like, you can, if you understand that, if you're aware of the spell casting, then you are not, you're not impacted by it. You're like, oh, okay. So you'll see, like, the way I take that in, like, I won't listen to the news because I don't need that, but you'll see people post clips of, like, whoever speaking, whether it be Biden or Bill Gates or, Fauci or whoever it is. And then you know, like, what's happening. But one thing that I've been doing, because I find it interesting, is even when I'm kind of vetting, like, we're all like looking for perspective, right, on this situation and this global stage unfolding. And I'll watch someone without the volume on, aware that the sound still can come through. But at first I'll just get a sense of, like, just saying, what is it? I don't want to hear the sound of their voice yet.
There is someone on YouTube. I mean, I'm not minimizing you. You're right on.
Yeah.
You are right on. There is someone on YouTube. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
And it's about body language. So if folks want to look up body language, maybe in the description, I'll send this to you, and then you could add it in the description, the channel. And it's this woman. She must have been an expert in reading body language, because she knows terms that are, I think, part of the field.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important. Watch eyes, watch mouths, watch posturing and hand signals.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because they're using every part of them to spell cast.
And colors, what they're wearing.
I'm like, oh. So what's interesting is I did see one of those body language videos with the Gates film, Linda Gates, and she does a thing, and it's about arrogance, where she turns her head up and she has a snarl. Like,
interesting.
That's a sign of arrogance, and she does it a lot. It's a side. She does this.
Who does? Melinda Gates.
Melinda Gates.
There's talk that she's actually Kevin Kline.
I know. Well, she's definitely not, if you look, because, if you want to get into this little bit, I'll give this little snippet for someone who's worked on bodies for a long time. Bone structure, female bone structure or male bone structure are different. You can see out of the owned influencers, whatever realm they exist in, you can start to look at their bone structure. Even though they do some shaving of bones, you'll see things grow back. And I think that's why, and you have to take into account all the different bones. Like one male trait is they have very long arms. Well, I'm female. I was born female for sure, and I have very long arms, but I have the female digit ratio. I don't have an Adam's apple. I don't have straight across collarbones. I don't have a brow ridge here.
You don't have the Adonis belt.
I don't have the Adonis belt. So there's all these things you can look at, and you can start to see, because that'll definitely demystify the spells. Because if you start looking and seeing this and understanding that, even as a, Joanie and I we're two psychic chicks, right?
That's right.
Women, because of estrogen, they have softer eyes. Men have typically, this is all just generalizing, have a more piercing gaze. And this is, and not all of them, but it's a more intense eye.
They have the inset eyes, and they have a brow ridge.
Yeah, but they also have a look. It's a look like, you know, we're more in
The
general,
soft
we're soft, receptive.
Deborah Kerr.
Yeah, yeah, we're just purring kitties over here.
Right, right.
So
You know,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's a way to start looking. And when you start to notice it, like what happens is you become, when you start to, you start to see like, oh my God, that's not a biological female, or that's not a, you feel it in your body. You start to recognize it right away. So
You
it's,
can look up the term transvestigation.
yeah, absolutely. You can educate
And if
yourself
you
on
want to
that.
get even more wigged out, look up pregvestigation.
Oh yeah, those are really interesting.
Throwing in a little bit of truther stuff for the folks. You know, to get back to this whole thing that's going
Yeah.
on with Biden having
Yeah.
won, you know, a lot of people who did not want him to win are, they're crushed, they're afraid. And what I would say to those people, I would say, follow your intuition.
hmm
There's a reason why you were following the President of the United States. And if you're thinking that maybe you bet on the wrong horse or your intuition was wrong, I would still hold on to what your heart told you, because I believe that there's more to what you know, not knew, know than maybe what you're crediting yourself. You need to remind yourself of everything that brought you to the conclusions that you have, not had. It is understandable. It's very human of you if you're questioning what you concluded. Go back again. And if you were in, you know, forever, however many years you've been following Donald Trump, ask yourself why you started following him. What brought you to conclude that he was someone that you would support? I don't think anything's changed in that way. And for those of you that are happy that Biden won, who are watching and wondering what we're talking about, that's fantastic. You go with your gut. You go with what feels right to you. What I would just caution is that I believe that it's possible that there are things that are going on that are not being shared publicly in the media, and that there's a reason why. There's a reason why many people who have supported the president, there are many reasons why, because they have been following other sources that offered information that is crushing, and they're standing behind that information. So hold on, both, whoever is listening, just hold on. There is more to come. This is not the end.
Right. Well, and you know, me personally, you know, I've never been a person who I don't believe in government. It's like my personal thing. I just don't believe in government. I don't believe that we need it. I don't, not the way that it exists now. And I probably would, if we had something that was like that, I'd want to change the name of it, because government itself means mind control, to govern the mind of people. So for me, it was easier for me to just be more neutral and objective, because I just don't, I would like to see my reality, if I could make a reality that, you know, and everyone were going to be in my reality, we wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have government at all, because in my perspective, we have every 4 years, we have an election. Every 4 years, everybody's, you know, it's been the worst. This election's been the worst. But every 4 years, everybody's kind of this conflict every 4 years. And it's designed that way. And I just seeing clients like, you know, in physical reality, the tension and the stress that they took on, they were giving so much to it and making so much of that decide about their lives. And I was like, let's just take a moment, take a breath, like, and so angry. like so much anger, like at one candidate, and the other, like, and then like not necessarily even loving the other candidate. So I always feel like, well, if you always hear is, well, I'm just going to vote for the lesser of two evils. Well, that's still evil. That's still evil. And so for me, it's this interesting, perspective, because I don't want to be so attached to, one person, or let that person affect or define my reality.
What you're describing is how people feel about money.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't want money. So
Mhm.
what I would say regarding government or money is, for today, government is the structure that's the glue that's keeping people together, that's organizing people, giving them structure. And money, it's the energy exchange for today.
Yeah.
Now, you and I are cosmic chicks, so we hearken to our star homes where there's no government, there's no money, there's no marriage with a last name. Did you ever channel anyone who had a last name, perhaps? No. So we feel and remember, we know that in higher dimensions, we are free to create our reality with like-mindeds, that we find our peeps, we create our now, and we're happy as larks. And we exchange love in different ways. You sing, you plant seeds. Oh, I'll sing a song while you plant the garden.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. It's not complicated, but we're here. So we come from our respective star systems to assist in helping move folks along, grow, change, expand, and wake up. So ultimately, we will find ourselves in a reality where you won't have your government, and I won't have to check to see if I have enough cash before leaving the house.
Yeah, exactly. Or even car keys,
or even the car keys.
We'll just teleport.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, because I look at it and I say, okay, well, what does government really do for people? Like, I don't think people sit down and think about, like, what does it really do for you? Can you even list it? Do you know? So that's, like, for me, an interesting thing to think about. Like, what do you want it to do for you? How about what do you want it to do for you? Instead of like, this is the way it is and it's been for years, and so there's nothing, nothing can be done, or, well, that's not true. So yeah, and so there's an interesting thing, and that's the whole everything to me, like, has been designed by the cult of Saturn, right? That's what's been happening. And to have that real, to me, the healer perspective is, I have to it's not that I play both sides of the fence, because I don't do that, but I have to help people that are Biden supporters, and I have to help people that are Trump supporters. It's not my job to convince them which one, although, I would like for people to know what's really going on underneath that. And to question that, and to question, especially the media, just question the media. And my one thing that I have this one, is this, because I feel like everything's getting revealed. And is this a way to reveal the media?
Absolutely. So I believe that the entire linchpin of this, the entire crux of this, will be ultimately the media. I believe that people will wake up when they learn that the media is the enemy, or is the force that has been molding people's perceptions of reality and moving them away from truth. Abso-friggin-lutely. And I'm tick, tick, tick. When? Are we there yet? Well,
I think it reminds me of the movie V for Vendetta, when he actually, like, where don't we have someone who can interrupt the broadcast signal? Is that possible? Who can do that? Where is that person? And please, can you do it?
Can you do it? Exactly.
If
It's
I knew how to do it, I would do it.
yes. And so there are people like us that are waiting and we just don't know when this is going to happen. And then there are people, I believe that this is an orchestration. I believe that this is already known what's going to happen, and that there are people on Earth that know what the playbook is, and that it's being laid out as we speak. You and I can channel, we can check out truther bits that are thrown out, but unless you're in some inner circle of the plan, it's just conjecture. So I would just say, keep the faith, folks, and smile, and know that all is well, that we haven't been forsaken. There would be no reason to have folks spiritually wake up to then be force vaccinated and chipped or taxed until they have no money anymore. It just would make no sense.
Well, do you feel this? I wonder if this ever like kind of comes to you. It's like, I feel like every single oppression that we've heard of in stories, like, taxed to death, like how many times has that been in like a medieval storyline? Like, it's all happening now.
Well, every single Grimm's fairy tale, I think, has truth in it.
Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel, and many others, Little Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks, and it just goes on and on. If you take a look at stories, we've been told everything forever, and that, yes, it's almost like taking all of the horrors and the karmic this and that's and throwing them into the cauldron and then going like this. And yeah, it's all there. It's all there. And we as a collective now get to heal.
Well, and it's interesting because you said that, and I just got this is an interesting like little tidbit that came through while you're talking about that. I mean, I went through a process of like, oh, Hansel and Gretel, candy house. Oh, Three Bears, oatmeal. I feel like I might be hungry. So I started thinking about food. But at the other end of that, I thought, well, this is interesting because we think about most other countries, right? Most other countries are socialist. They're not, they don't have the freedom. They don't have freedom, right?
Yeah.
Now, I understand that our freedom is an illusion too. Like, it's also, we've had an illusion of freedom. And in order for us to see how the world has been locked down in other countries, it's like there has to be a threat of freedom here too, in order for us to like wake up and come together and say no, we're sovereign, and no. And I believe the most sacred word in the universe is no.
Ultimately, I think people need to question.
Yeah.
Because everything that you are saying and have said, everything that I've said, ultimately you either accept it and you swallow it without questioning and chewing it, or you look at it and you don't even necessarily take it to chew it. So there are people who are curious cats and they will go, what is that? What is that? I'm going to touch that, smell it, see it, inspect it. Do I hear anything? Right. And then there are other people that just like, they're not necessarily doing the work and they're just like, bring it on. And I would suggest, as a soul in Earth School, be the curious cat, because that's why you're here.
Yeah. I mean, question us, question what we're telling you. Like, part of it is saying like, well, let's see. Do I like that? Like, oh, let me get a little taste of this. Do I like it? Do I like that it tastes? Nah, it doesn't taste so good to me. I'm going to try this over here. Let's see how this tastes. And that's, in a way, is like it's like your discerning palette of it for information.
Cafeteria style, I say.
I like cafeteria.
Pick and choose.
I like having variety.
I love chatting with you. This was fun.
I love chatting with you too. Yeah.
I've
So
got a sneeze coming, so I'm wondering whether that's choose variety, and it is. Hang on. Excuse me. Is there going to be? No. So there you go. Excuse me. That was truth.
oh,
I
and so
love variety.
yeah,
Yes.
congratulations. So when someone sneezes, we say congratulations. Congratulations for
There you
expelling
go.
that lower vibration and moving on to the next
Woo.
higher vibration
There we
in the
go.
light.
I'll take that. I'll
Well,
take that.
yeah, yeah. You know that they used to say bless you because they thought people were
We're gonna.
evil spirit when they sneezed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's one of the
Oh, I
yeah,
thought it had to do with they were afraid they were going to die.
that
So
too.
if they,
But that there's
oh,
there's
that,
a
yeah.
couple of, but that's one of them is.
Oh my, well,
So now I say congratulations.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll be back again. We'll be back again with more
Absolutely.
with more insights about what's going on in the news.
I
Yeah.
just think it's so funny that we had talked about what we were going to chat about today.
Yes.
And then the world threw us, something very colorful.
Yeah.
And we decided we weren't going to just chat about that stuff because there was something a little bit more immediate to talk about that maybe we thought people might want to hear about.
It's a little bit pressing. A little bit
A
pressing.
little bit. Thank you for setting up this Zoom.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much for all your insights, for just generously sharing, and just for being you, because you're so adorable.
Oh, thank you. And the same to you. Thank you for everything that you bring to us all. We need you. And thank you for showing up.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. We need you. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. All right. So we'll see you again.
Definitely.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.